2025, and Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier still hate each other. Their last fight was almost 10 years ago, yet still the drama continues.
I kind of want the ability to kill him, so I'd like to do it at my house.
There you go. Yeah, me too.
And they can't really do me anything.
Yeah,
Well,
who is it,
who are
DC?
you fighting?
I think we know.
We all know DC was secretly hoping Jones would fight Tom Aspinall and get knocked out cold, but that wish isn't coming true. But there's a spanner in the works. Jon Jones announced he's back in the testing pool and has his eyes set on the UFC card at the White House.
To be able to entertain the country and the world at this level at the White House, it just means the world to me. So I'm back.
It might just be talk, but if it's true, it could be one of the biggest fights in combat sports history. But there is one final hurdle: Dana White.
I can't risk putting him in big positions in a big spot and have something go wrong.
For over 2 years, Jon Jones held the heavyweight belt hostage.
I'm the best heavyweight in the world, and I'm not getting my credit for it. They're holding the belt hostage, mate, and Jon Jones is loving it. He's loving the fact that Dana White's getting on every interview possible. Friggin' hell, you talk about something, you're talking about bantamweights, and Dana White flips it back and starts talking about how good Jon Jones is.
Aspinall was in his prime, ready to go, but Jon Jones and his games put a halt to everything. Whether it was going silent for a few months, saying he was injured, or doing a reality TV show in Thailand, he just never made a decision about fighting Aspinall. And over time, fans, the media, even the UFC themselves just got a bit fed up with Jon Jones and his games.
Hold someone else's dreams back from becoming a reality, that is ducking. That is ducking, because there is a time-honored tradition in this business, in the sport, in combat sports, in fight sports, in sports period, that the whole thing has to move along. It's not about your story. Your story is great, and you're living your best life, great. Get rid of that belt.
Then all of a sudden, all the noise coming out made it seem like the fight was all but certainly happening.
Jon Jones agreed to do the fight, so Jon Jones was offered the deal and accepted the deal.
Jones got the outlandish amount of money he asked for, wasn't injured, and there was nothing standing in the way of what would have been an all-time classic. It seemed like Dana tried to move heaven and earth to make it happen. The Saudis were going to sponsor the event to help pay for Jon's demands. Then, out of nowhere, Jon Jones retired and relinquished the title.
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
Bear in mind, if this was always going to be the outcome, Jon could have retired in the cage after the Stipe Miocic fight and had a heartfelt send-off just like we saw for Dustin Poirier. But instead, it was a random tweet out of the blue. Aspinall found out he was promoted to Undisputed Champion online, and it couldn't have been more underwhelming.
I can't think of a worse way you could have done it. This is the announcement of Tom as the new champion. I don't know if pathetic is the word. I just feel they didn't think about it. I don't think Tom deserved to find out at a press conference in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
It's got a point.
It's poor man management of Jones and Tom. I like the personnel at the UFC, but for me, they just don't do things right sometimes.
All the hype, discussions, and anticipation of the fight just for it to fizzle out. It left a seriously bitter taste in the mouth of not only the UFC fans, but the community itself. And one man had a lot to say about it: Jon Jones' #1 rival, Daniel Cormier.
He was thinking about doing it. He was trying to convince himself that he still could put in the work necessary to go beat this dude.
Damn, dude, this dude's speaking facts,
Was
bro.
the truth. He was still, the reason he didn't say in November, it would have been a fairy tale ending.
As an analyst for the UFC, the owner of a YouTube channel, and more, it is quite literally DC's job to discuss the hot topics in MMA. And the will he, won't he aspect of Jon Jones fighting Aspinall has been a huge talking point. But despite DC usually being okay at staying neutral, when it comes to Jones though, that's not the case. Their rivalry was probably the most intense in UFC history. It spanned multiple years and got pretty dark.
I wish they would let me next door so I can spit in your f***ing face.
You know I would absolutely kill you if you ever did something like that,
You
right?
could never kill me.
Oh, I bet you I could.
Then you should try, Jon. You really should try,
No,
Jon.
I would literally kill you if you spit in my face.
Yeah, let's try that, Jon.
Literally kill you.
Let's try that, Jon.
Outside of the fights themselves, Jones just messed DC and his career around so much. Cormier was booed by fans for years, had his title right at light heavyweight constantly questioned, multiple fights cancelled because of Jon, and so much more. So the prospect of an older Jon taking on someone as dangerous as Aspinall would have no doubt got DC excited, because after all, there's a serious chance that Jon Jones could have have ended up unconscious in the first round in his final ever fight.
When he fought that dude, Stipe, and got it done, he was like, okay, I can fight this dude. And then Tom beat the shit out of Derek Lewis, who Tom beat up on Curtis Blades. He knocked Sergey head off. Nobody can go with him. And he's like, do I have to put, because he worked hard. He knew how hard he had to work to beat me. And the world's telling him, hey man, this dude's gonna beat you, he's gonna knock you out, this guy's this. And he probably thought to himself, I don't know that I can make myself go to that place again.
It's probably the biggest reason Jon Jones ultimately walked away. He knows it's a major risk, and he's an extremely calculated fighter. Jon didn't fight Chael Sonnen on short notice, despite being a huge favorite, is happy to pull out if he has a slight injury, didn't fight Francis Ngannou, and doesn't take extreme risks. Whereas fighting Tom Aspinall is a massive gamble, and Cormier knows it.
I was 36 years old the first time I fought Jon Jones. 36 and 38 the second time. He's now what, 37, 38 years old? He was in his mid-20s when he fought all these great legends, but he fought them all when he was in his mid-20s. Now, he'd be on the other side of that coin. This kid's young. He's the older guy. He's been through the wars. It doesn't matter how great you are. When you go through that many battles, it will show.
And while the DC Jones situation is vastly different to Jones and Aspinall, there are some strange similarities. Cormier was the older fighter by a huge margin when he faced Jones. Now it's Jones on the other side of the coin.
When I fought Jones the first time, I was 36 years old. When we fought the second time, I was 38, about to go 39 years old. Like, we were up in age when how old were you when you fought Jones?
Yeah, 38.
Yeah, we were old. He was a young guy, 27.
Yep.
Now it's like he's on the opposite end of that, and like there's some worry when you look in the mirror and look at a 38-year-old man opposed to that 27-year-old kid that he was before, and recognize that Tom Aspinall is dangerous.
Both Aspinall and DC have had their careers put into chaos, their title reigns questioned as they only got the undisputed belt in Jones's absence. So Jon Jones refusing to fight Aspinall as the older guy would have bugged Cormier just that little bit extra. The chance of potentially seeing him get flatlined was lost.
In that video, Jon says, there's no way you can compete with me. He goes, because every day you get a little older. He said, if we run, if we jump, I'm 28 years old, you're 37. And every day you get closer to 38. He says, I will see in the octagon a 38-year-old man while I'm just entering into my prime.
But while Jon Jones and DC's rivalry is long in the past, a new chapter of their drama just went down. And surprisingly, it was Cormier who perhaps unintentionally kickstarted it.
Yeah, who is it, DC?
Who are you fighting?
I think we know. I could take a couple guesses who you might fight in your living room.
Does it rhyme with Mon Moons?
You guys think I don't dislike Jon Jones? I think he's fine.
Oh my God, he's fine.
That happened at the UFC 318 weigh-in show, where the panel was asked if they could pick an opponent and location, who would they choose? Felder went with Mike Perry, Weidman said maybe Luke Rockhold, and Gaethje asked for Colby Covington in an elevator. And surprise, surprise, Daniel Cormier would have picked Jon Jones. But it wasn't just who he said that caused headlines, but instead where.
I kind of want the ability to kill him, so I'd like to do it at my house.
There you go. Yeah, me too.
They can't really do anything.
Bear in mind that they drink a fair few beers on the show and have a lot of jokes, but even so, there's some very strong words from DC. It just shows that even now, with so much time since their last fight, DC still has that bitterness towards Jones, even if he said Jon Jones is fine. They could be 80 years old and would still throw hands if they ran into one another. And of course, Daniel's comments got back to Jon Jones, who had plenty to say on Twitter. He said he left DC with emotional damage, is rent-free in his head, and much more. It's probably a fair and warranted reaction from Jon. And although it's absolutely over in terms of Cormier and Jones ever meeting inside the octagon again, the door isn't fully closed for Jon, who released some very unexpected news just weeks after his retirement.
Just re-entered the testing pool. That lasted for about 2 weeks. Figured we'd keep everyone's options open. Now we'll have a look at the comments on that in just a second. I don't know what to think of this. I don't know if Jon's having a laugh, if he's being silly, if he's just taking the piss, or if he's actually serious. I mean, what has changed in 2 weeks' time.
Just 2 weeks after his supposed retirement, Jon Jones claimed he was back in the UFC anti-drug testing pool. It might have just been a ploy to keep his name in the limelight. After all, Jon doesn't seem the type who'd want to fade away in obscurity. But on the other side, it might have been the truth. He might not have even left the testing pool anyway. Then he was on Twitter talking about how it feels great to be the hunter, that he's keeping his options open and so forth. But there was one reason that seemed to cause this drastic U-turn from Jon Jones: the talk of a UFC event being hosted at the White House.
So every one of our national park, battlefields, and historic sites are going to have special events in honor of America 250. And I even think we're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have, does anybody watch UFC, the great Dana White? We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little, we're not, Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind.
We know Donald Trump has been a longtime fan of the UFC, a friend of Dana White, and even let the promotion put fights on at his hotel in Las Vegas back in the early days. And he made this announcement on July 4th, Independence Day of all days. Once the news broke, it supposedly changed the game for Jon.
Felt like there wasn't too many more challenges for me, and I just wanted to do something more than championships and money. And Donald Trump mentioned that he wanted to have a fight at the White House Garden, you know, and that just seems like such a huge opportunity. I'm a very proud American. I have a lot of close friends that are in the military, and this is my act of I can't call it service, but just to be able to entertain the country and the world at this level at the White House, it just means the world to me. So I'm back.
The plan would be for the event to take place on the 4th of July 2026, with that being the celebration of 250 years of US independence. Jon claimed he called the UFC as soon as he heard Trump's announcement. We have no idea how serious Jon Jones is, especially after all the games he's played, but Dana White surprisingly isn't a fan of the idea.
I can't risk putting him in big positions in a big spot and have something go wrong.
Jon twisted Dana's words, making it sound like Dana said he can't risk something going wrong, not that he specifically called Jon untrustworthy. But either way, Jon said he's going to train hard, remain in the testing pool, and aim for that White House card in 2026. Of course, by then the heavyweight landscape could look entirely different. We might be kidding ourselves, but who knows, maybe Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall isn't entirely over just yet. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. Over 95% of our viewers aren't subscribed to the channel, and we release videos just like this every single week. So please go subscribe to make our day, and we'll catch you on the next one.